What's up guys and welcome back to How to Rip. This is Lesson of the Week, a show where we release 2 surf tips every single week, so make sure you subscribe to the channel now. Today is a bit of a different episode. A lot of you guys obviously have been appreciating our episodes out in the surf, but today we're going to give you one of the most requested episodes, and that is talking about the surfer's body and what you can do outside of the water to better prepare yourself to be in the water so that you can keep ripping every single day. So for this episode, I caught up with a good friend of mine, Nic Laidlaw from Balance Studio up here on the Northern Beaches in Sydney, and we chatted about the surfer's body and his principles behind training people to be better and have more fun, which is most important, out in the ocean. It's a really cool episode. It's different to what we would normally do, but I hope you enjoy it. If you want to come and join me on Instagram or YouTube, it's at Cows Broccoli. You can also join Nick on Instagram or YouTube at Balanced Studio. Thanks so much, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let us know in the comments what you thought of today's episode if you want more of this sort of stuff, and we'll see you guys soon. Yo!
My name is Nic Laidlaw, and I'm a movement coach and a lifestyle coach, and I've got a studio here in Avalon where we work in the context of movement and teach all things that are conducive and affirmative to living your best self. I think everything since I was a kid has been directed at how can I spend more time in the ocean? How can I be surfing more, surfing better, having more fun, frothing out more, and surfing is, really one of the things that lights me up. So it has a huge impact on my life in all ways. Every sport has its imbalances. Every sport is asymmetric, and what we do in life day to day is very asymmetric. So I see a lot of surfers with really flat chests, very broad shoulders, a lot of tight lower back, whether that's surfing that's causing that or whether that's their work that's causing that and it's inhibiting them from spending time in the surf. I see a lot of surfers that get to their mid-40s where their hips are going out, and it's usually one of their hips. For me, I can feel patterns emerging in my front, where my front foot is. I'm a regular footer, so my left foot, left side, my left hip can tend to be a bit gunky. So I see that in a lot of surfers. Their front foot is kind of wears down over a period of time. A lot of unevenness through the pelvis for surfers, because you're driving and you're turning and pivoting off one side a lot more often than the other. So aside from the repetitive kind of neck and back kind of being in a fixed position, your lower back being in a fixed position, when you're actually on the wave, that does create a bit of torsion through the pelvis. There are a few things that definitely come to mind. What I do with anybody is and this is what anyone can do, is I'll look at someone against gravity. So I'll get someone standing up. And if this were you, if this was someone that's going to try this at home, I'd just stand in front of the mirror and just look at your body. Like, how do my ankles, how symmetric are my ankles, my knees, my hips, my shoulders? Because I can't give an answer that's going to be applicable to everybody. So I'd see where is really starkly uneven in your body. And usually you'll see something in the pelvis. So if you're standing upright, you'll see one hip is generally higher than the other, or one shoulder is higher than the other. That's generally an indication that that on that side, the muscle's working too hard there. So I'd be trying to stretch out the muscles that are too tight, or the parts of your body that are too tight, and I'd be wanting to strengthen the opposite side of that. Just try a different few things. If you're leaning to the side and it feels tight on one side more than the other, spend some time opening up that side that feels tight. So I'd just be doing an assessment. How tight am I on my left comparative to my right? So see how you can make the unevenness a little bit smaller over time and spend more time on the side that's tighter. From this position, you can also have a wider stance and really open up the insides of the thighs using your hand to help you as much as you need as you're just flowing from left to right. I'd also be opening up the front of the hips as well and just seeing, again, assess. If it feels tight, you need to stretch it. So a nice lunging stretch like this, where you're opening up, moving to the side, holding for 10 or so breaths at a time is good. We need to do a bit more rotation in our body. So seeing if you can take your hand to the outside of the knee, and again, compare left to right and see where is feeling tighter and give that the time. But the more mobility we have through our ankles, the knees and the hips, the more fun we're going to be able to have in the ocean. So the more ability we're going to be able to jump to our feet, to get from low to high very quickly and smoothly and efficiently as well. You're spending a lot of time paddling comparatively to how long you're spending surfing, and you're spending a lot of time sitting on your board looking out the horizon more than you are surfing on a wave as well. So there's a lot of time spent like that, and there's a lot of time where you're kind of rotating your shoulders and internally rotating. So I'd look, what are some movements and positions which oppose these, you know? So if you're always going like that, maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to stand against a wall like this for a couple of minutes a day, or even just to get your neck moving. If you're always rolling your shoulders forward, that's kind of one repetition, I'd be saying, how can I open my chest and shoulders to move in the opposite direction? And I'd really encourage people to kind of take a curious approach to this. I'd be mobilizing the shoulders, so I'd be trying to lift your chest up, not by this, just by getting tall, lengthening the spine. And I'd be finding some space in the shoulders because we're constantly rolling forward. So I'd see, is there possibility for me to be working and rolling these shoulders in different directions? So not just forward. Forward isn't bad, but too much forward isn't good. So we want to see, can we balance this out by going up and down? This will give us an idea how much mobility, how much space have we got in our chest. Again, the lower back is another thing that's really in one fixed position when we're surfing and when we're paddling. So I'd be wanting to move the hips. You don't need to do any of this on a ball, but it's good, it's handy to have a ball there. You can do this standing as well. So I'd be seeing, where could I soften my hips? So this is all working around one area that gets really, one chain of muscles that gets really tight. And another thing, while you do have a ball, is to lie over the abdominals. So you want to drop your bottom towards the ground, have the hands behind the neck, and just see if you can use your breath to extend and flex. And see if we can inhale as our body's getting longer, exhale as our body's getting shorter. So this is going to just give our spine and give our midsection some space where we're commonly getting short and tight. We want to just see if we can lengthen it. And once we lengthen it, find a little bit of space in that area as well. The biggest thing I see with surfers, especially surfers that have been surfing for a long time, is gunky shoulders. Tight shoulders, too much forward protraction. So what we want to do is find space through the shoulders as much as we can. The simplest way, I believe, and something that people could do every day to decompress their upper back and find more space in the shoulders, is to use gravity to help them out a bit. So what I would be starting to practice is finding a hanging bar, if you can, or a set of gymnastics rings, or you can even be that weirdo at the playground that kind of hangs on little monkey bars, and let your shoulders shrug around the ears. Your grip is strong, but everything else is nice and soft. And just give yourself a cumulatively 5 minutes a day of just slowly decompressing the spine. Make it as effortless as possible. There's tons of variations and then strength to gain once you are in this position, but it's not necessary straight away. First, what we want to do is to build a good foundation. We want it nice, solid, and we want length in our spine before anything else. let's just get rid of the word core and like what's applicable to surfing. You're doing a lot of rotation, and you're using your lower body a lot as well. So your lower body is more or less in a fixed position, and then your upper body is quite dynamic. So I'd be looking at, see how can I strengthen my lower body so that it's very bamboo-like. It's strong, but it's also very soft. So I'd be working at training the abdominals from the inside out. I'd see first what's my posture? Do I have a very forward head posture? If this is kind of the case, if you look at yourself or you ask someone what your posture looks like from side on, and it's kind of like this, I wouldn't be doing any crunches or anything like that. And when you're surfing, you don't see there's no movements that are simulated that's kind of like the crunch. So I'd be kind of simulating, I'd be looking what's happening on a surfboard. So I'd be using some instability to kind of simulate that environment. I'd be doing some rotational movements for sure. But for surfing, it's not the sport where you need to be the strongest person in the world. You need a lot of dynamic mobility, and you need a bit of strength. Well, you could use a cable machine. You could also do this with just a free weight. Just seeing how it feels to bring weight across the body. Drawing the navel to the spine, trying not to overuse the shoulders, because we do so much of that with paddling and everything anyway. We want the strength to be coming from the inside out. So if you can bring something across your body, will be really nice added value to your program if you're already doing a movement program. It doesn't need to be too fast to begin with. You can just start by slowly integrating more rotation, because a lot of the ways that we train when we're in gyms and stuff is very linear, so very forward and back. So you can use a cable machine. Again, you can just swing your arms, practicing rotation. You can also change heights and rotate from low to high on both sides as well. And try and do the side that you're not always doing in the surf as well, and seeing how that feels moving the opposite way. On a technical level, you're going to get your improvements are going to be made when you're exposed to the specific terrain. So for instance, I want to surf bigger waves personally, and I want to get better at surfing bigger waves. I'm not going to, I could do as much breath training on land as I want, but it's not going to have too much carryover when I'm shitting myself in front of a 20-foot wave or something like that, you know? So the more exposure I get into that environment, it's going to definitely increase my resilience. And then as far as technical surfing, you want to get better at doing aerials, or you want to get better at high performance, there's definitely things you can do on land, but you're going to always make your leaps and your quantum leaps in the ocean. In saying that, there's definitely things you can do to enhance your experience in the ocean. And that's like what I want to teach people. When the surf's pumping, I do not want people at class. I want people out in the ocean having a good time. So, because that's when you're going to be getting your experience and learning and seeing if you can change and improve and evolve. So there are things that you can do on land and in here that are definitely going to enhance your time in the water. Why are you surfing in the first place? You know, for me, I can say that I want to have as much fun as I possibly can. So with the instrument that I've been given, I want to make sure that that's as primed as it can be, so I can translate that to maximum fun in the ocean. I don't train in the gym so I can get better at training in the gym. I don't eat good food so I can tell people I eat organic food. I do it all so that I can so that experience translates to more fun in the ocean.
Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, let me know in the comments what else you want to see. If you want to join me on Insta or YouTube, it's at Kales Broccoli. If you want to join Nick on YouTube or Insta, it's at Balance Studio. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next episode. We've got some sick content coming your way. Thanks, guys. Yo!